Your story starts here, England. You've just been caught for hacking one of the largest corporations in the world. Your name is linked and tied all over this, and you are currently under investigation. You've been granted bail due to your age and circumstances. You head down to your local store and pick up 3 items, a fire stick, a keyboard and a mouse. What happens from there is history. At just 11 years old, Kataj made his first ever stray into hacking. He posted on a cybercrime marketplace, looking for methods to try and hack into a Minecraft server that he used to play quite often. He was removed from public school and placed into a residential one for children with severe emotional and behavioural needs. The residential school lacked distractions for someone Arian's age. By just 14, his petty Minecraft hacking turned into some serious crimes, but not for financial gain. At around about 14 years of age, he was known to have joined a group by the name of Lapsus, one of the largest hacking groups online at the time. He had mastered SIM swapping, social engineering and ransomware attacks. Someone in the field of Arian and Lapsus would typically try and fly under the radar. These guys were the complete opposite. They did not care for financial gain and loved to brag. By just 16 years old, Arian was responsible for the hackings of 2 of the biggest companies in the world. Starting off with Nvidia, they happened to become a large target. The data stolen included the designs for the GPUs, employee login credentials, and sensitive software related to the development of these graphics cards. Lapsus' intention was to steal the data, gain company secrets, and use it as a ransom. The Lapsus hackers demanded that Nvidia remove the mining restrictions from the RTX 30 series to stop them limiting crypto mining. Nvidia didn't take this lightly. In fact, the company not only refused to meet the demands, but hacked the hackers back, deploying a remote access tool to encrypt the stolen data. The Lapsus hackers saw this as a challenge, and fighting back, they leaked the remainder of the source code, GPU schematics, and proprietary data. Now typically hackers would sell this onto the dark web for large sums of money. Arian and Lapsus are completely different. For whatever reason, they did not see the financial gain aspect of it. They just leaked it all online, announced it and bragged about it, and mocked all their security measures. In the same year, Lapsus had another target ready, and this one was arguably a bigger hack than the first one. A 5-step process was used to hack Uber. Now reportedly at the time, Uber's security systems weren't the greatest. They had never expected such a thing to happen to them. The first few steps into accessing Uber's systems was a phishing attack. They scrambled to find a target and they found an Uber contractor who they knew had some sort of access to the admin systems. Hundreds of login requests were sent to the Uber contractor. He initially ignored them, but then decided that he'd have a look at them. It was at this point he saw another email requesting him to log in, seemingly from Uber themselves. And then began step 2. Uber had 2-factor authentication for extra security on every single contractor's phone. Arian and Lapsus knew this, but they knew they could do one thing better than anybody else. They sent hundreds and even thousands of these multi-factor authentication requests to all the employees in the building, waiting for one person to just get annoyed and click yes or okay. Eventually, one contractor did, and that would lead to one of the biggest mistakes that Uber had ever made. It was from there Uber's vulnerabilities and weaknesses were clear. There was a script containing the username and password for Uber's most privileged access management system, and it was here where Uber's most sensitive systems were hidden. With access to this, they had access to everything: security tools, Slack, internal messaging systems, the financial data, and most importantly, customer data. Now Uber had no idea this hack had taken place and that anybody had accessed their systems externally. But we know from earlier, Lapsus loved to brag and let everybody know what they have just done. So instead of playing silent, he sent a Slack message to the entire company chat saying, "I am a hacker and Uber has suffered a data breach." The employees laughed about it and thought nothing of it. The next morning, all the Uber employees had woken up to screenshots of Uber's internal systems. Due to one Uber employee's carelessness, Uber pinpointed that specific employee and thought he was responsible for the entire attack. They locked down all internal systems, but it was too late. Everything was downloaded and posted onto external forums. The FBI were contacted, and within days the authorities linked the attack directly to Kataj and Lapsus. It was not long before the UK authorities were contacted to locate Kataj and put him in custody. Not long after hacking Nvidia, Kataj had gotten into an incident with another person in the same space. They had released all his details onto Doxbin, started taking videos of the outside of his house and sending them to him. I won't show that footage out of respect, but it is quite disturbing. This was convenient for the UK authorities. It made it all that bit easier to find him. Little is known about what had happened when he had been arrested. What is known is that he was allowed to stay in supported accommodation during his time on bail. The authorities were slightly lenient with him due to his learning difficulties and just being a bit of a younger suspect in general, but this meant nothing to Kurtaj. Nothing could stop him from making another statement. His eyes were set on the impossible target. This is by far the biggest hack in all of entertainment history. Kurtaj and Lapsus had been monitoring the people over at Rockstar for quite a while, looking for vulnerabilities and emotionally vulnerable people within the team. Just like they had with Uber, they bombarded employees with hundreds if not thousands of different authentication requests. Eventually, one of the victims ends up approving it. The first thing they do is access the developer files to see any gameplay footage that had been sent around throughout the Slack messaging service. But to Kurtaj's luck, he found 90 development clips showing the early builds of GTA 6. On the same day, Kurtaj had released the clips of the leaked footage and had also put up another ransom. He also claimed to have GTA 6's source code, which could have been disastrous had it have been leaked. He also openly taunted Rockstar, saying that he was willing to sell it to the highest bidder, and Rockstar employees panicked. Rockstar had no choice but to claim that the hacks had happened and confirm that the clips were real. The FBI had deemed this to be one of the biggest leaks in gaming and entertainment history, and it was not long before they found who the culprit was. Within just 4 days of the hack, the FBI contacted the UK authorities to arrest him immediately. At 17 years of age, Arion was able to take an Amazon Fire Stick and use it to penetrate one of the most secure companies in the whole world. Arion wouldn't get so lucky this time around though. He was arrested and later sentenced to indefinite hospital detention. Now it's crazy to think how smart this kid was. At just 15 years of age, he was turning over more than his teachers. Just a really quick one at the end of the video. If anybody has any feedback or criticism for these videos, please let me know in the comments. I'm not asking for a like, I'm not asking for a subscription, nothing. Just let me know what I could improve on. This is the only time I'll ever leave one of these at the end of a video. This is my first ever video, and I just really want to get into the grips of it and really get into YouTube, because this is kind of something I enjoy. I feel like I want to cut down the stock footage. I'm trying to learn how to 3D animate, and eventually when I make a bit more of my job, I'll start paying for a 3D animator and some sound effects and stuff like that. So thank you guys.